Chapter 81 The Finals Begin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. While waiting for the finals, Zhongli holed up in his hotel, spending his days reading novels and watching anime, only breaking for meals. His only other contact was phone calls with his family and Ji Ling. He'd completely cut off contact with Su Lin and his crew, so, despite the Su family's best efforts, they couldn't find him, and eventually gave up. Finally, the day of the Magic City Elf Cup Finals arrived. Zhongli woke up early, got ready, and took a taxi straight to the water gym. The place was packed. Zhongli was competing in the secondary arena, the next best thing to the main stage. Usually, this arena only hosts battles for professional gym-level elves and higher. The main arena is reserved for quasi-king-level battles and above, but for the Elf Cup Finals, the water gym opened up the secondary arena. Every seat was taken, and people were standing shoulder to shoulder around the perimeter, many waving banners and glow sticks for their favorite competitors. Zhongli noticed a lot of support for Lin Lan, the clear frontrunner. Looking around for his own supporters, he was surprised to spot Luo Xian, the girl who always wore black stockings and a JK uniform. She must have used her telepathy to find him. She saw him looking, glared, and reluctantly waved her support stick. OMG! He's looking at me, a Lolita-dressed girl beside Luo Xian squealed, grabbing her arm. Apparently, the Lolita girl had been captivated by Zhongli during Luo Xian's earlier match and decided to support him. She'd gathered this small group of supporters, most of whom would otherwise be cheering for Lin Lan. As music started, the staff announced the players to come to the stage. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Tang Ying, and I'll be calling the battles for today's Elf Cup Finals. First up is the favorite to win, Magic City's uncrowned king, Lin Lan. Whoa! Lin Lan stepped forward, basking in the roaring applause. Next, we have Zhongli from Jinling. Zhongli walked onto the battlefield. The cheers were noticeably quieter this time. A few shouts came from the Lolita girl and her small group. Across the stage, Zhongli saw Lin Lan soaking it all in. Zhongli, look! This is what support looks like. Even though we're both quasi-god trainers, this is the difference, Lin Lan said with a smirk. Oh, who cares how many fans you have? It all comes down to strength. What do you think they'll say if I beat you easily? Zhongli understood human nature. While these people might be shouting for Lin Lan now, the moment Lin Lan slipped up, they'd be the first to turn on him. Humph. Enough talk. Let's settle this in the arena. Lin Lan wasn't interested in a debate. Contestants, take your positions. Let the battle begin. At the referee's signal, both trainers sent out their first elves. Go, Dragonite. Charizard, let's go. Lin Lan sent out Dragonite, one of his main elves. Lin Lan was a well-known young prodigy in Shanghai. His quasi-god elf Dragonite once achieved an incredible 30-win streak in the arena, even when Dragonite was only level 27, which is the average for an ordinary high-level elf. It managed to fight 30 elves over several days and win. The gym staff wanted to put an end to this record. They sent out multiple top-tier normal-level elves. But all were defeated by Lin Lan's Dragonite. That battle instantly made Lin Lan famous, and he became known as a prodigy. Lin Lan's father was also a gym-level trainer, and it just so happens that his father owns a Dragonite with strength at the peak of the gym level that has broken through to the quasi-king level. However, possessing a quasi-king level Dragonite doesn't qualify him as a quasi-king level trainer. To be considered a quasi-king level trainer, you need to have at least 3 quasi-king level elves. Regardless, Lin Lan's father still has a high position among gym-level trainers. After all, because of its power, the quasi-god level Dragonite would be able to withstand attacks from 6 top-tier gym-level elves and not be defeated. All elves at the quasi-king level have realms within their domains. Other elves weaker than them will be suppressed. Similarly, Zhongli's father possessed a Tyranitar with quasi-king level strength, although he cannot be called a quasi-king trainer or participate in the King Challenge. He naturally dominates the ranks of gym-level trainers. Back in the match, Zhongli sent out his original starter, Charizard. Seeing Zhongli send out a Charizard, Lin Lan was annoyed, as he felt that Zhongli was underestimating him. Why else would he send out a Charizard instead of using his quasi-god elf Tyranitar? Lin Lan thought that quasi-god elves were overwhelmingly more powerful than other elves. Furthermore, his Dragonite, as a dragon-type quasi-god, had innate resistance to fire attacks. Fire-type damage only has half the effect on it. However, Zhongli could have used his quasi-god elf Tyranitar, whose rock element would have effectively restrained his Dragonite. Why hadn't he? Was Zhongli looking down on him? Chapter 82: The Showdown between Meteor, Volcano and Dragon Stars. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When some of the spectators saw Zhongli send out Charizard, they immediately booed in disappointment. They were hoping for a battle between pseudo-legendary Pokémon. Some even speculated that Zhongli was afraid of Mtln and using Charizard as an excuse in case he lost. That way, he wouldn't be blamed for not using his pseudo-legendary Tyranitar. Mtln, on the other hand, was determined to thoroughly defeat Zhongli and avenge the earlier slight. Zhongli used his analysis ability on Dragonite to get a read on his opponent. Species, Dragonite, gender, male, strength, level 30, peak of normal, type, dragon/flying, ability, multiscale, hidden, potential, pseudo-legendary, moves, flamethrower, dragon dance, dragon rush, thunderbolt, hydro pump, thunder punch, ice punch, fire punch, sunny day, hyper beam, safeguard, water pulse, surf, Draco Meteor. Seeing the wealth of data and extensive move pool, Zhongli couldn't help but sigh. He's definitely got the benefit of having a pseudo-legendary parent. All those moves must have been learned from him. Dragonite, use extreme speed. The moment the referee signaled the start of the match, Mtln immediately commanded Dragonite to use extreme speed. Dragonite is known for its speed. Some Dragonite can circle the globe in just a few hours. Even at the peak of the normal level, its speed was something to respect. Dragonite instantly channeled its energy and vanished from sight, appearing directly behind Charizard, ready for a surprise attack. Humph! Charizard, use Immortal Art, extreme speed. Seeing Dragonite use extreme speed, Zhongli decided to go for the knockout. He wanted Charizard to win in the area where he was supposedly outmatched. That would really shut the audience up. Hearing Zhongli's command, Charizard immediately channeled his natural energy, combining it with his normal energy to execute Immortal Art, extreme speed. Just as Dragonite swung its tail to strike Charizard on the head, the enhanced Charizard reacted. He ducked, avoiding the attack, and then appeared above Dragonite with incredible speed, delivering a swift kick that sent Dragonite tumbling head over heels through the air, nearly falling to the ground. The audience was stunned. They hadn't been able to clearly see what happened. All they saw was Dragonite suddenly flying backward after trying to attack. The speed was so great that no one could follow it. Director, replay that. Host Tang Ying immediately asked for a replay so the audience could see what had happened. It turned out that Dragonite's attack had failed, and Charizard, faster than ever, had taught him a lesson. The audience erupted in chatter. Charizard had surpassed Dragonite in his own area of expertise. It defied everything they thought they knew. A starter Pokémon outspeeding a pseudo-legendary. Mtln glared at Zhongli, his face livid. He had just been slapped in the face. He'd been so arrogant, and now he felt utterly humiliated. Dragonite, use Draco Meteor. Enraged and embarrassed, Mtln ordered Dragonite to unleash the Dragon-type ultimate move, Draco Meteor. Dragonite gathered all its dragon energy into a massive ball of light in its mouth. This ball of light, filled with blazing dragon elements, was launched skyward. It exploded, scattering into countless smaller energy balls that rapidly expanded as they absorbed the surrounding energy. These energy balls grew even larger than the original, becoming like meteors hurtling towards the ground. Zhongli grimaced, watching the incoming barrage. This attack wouldn't be easy to deal with. Charizard, use Meteor Volcano. Roar. Hearing Zhongli's command, Charizard roared and soared into the sky. Using the power of the lava fruit, he summoned lava meteors. These meteor volcanoes locked onto Dragonite's Draco meteors with uncanny accuracy. The lava swallowed Dragonite's dragon stars in a series of fiery explosions. Is that Zhongli's own move? It actually negated Dragonite's Draco Meteor. Tang Ying exclaimed in disbelief. The audience was awestruck. Even experienced trainers frowned, never having seen anything like it before. Damn it, Mtln cursed under his breath. The spotlight was supposed to be on him, but now he and Dragonite were just a backdrop for Zhongli and Charizard. He was used to being the center of attention, and this was a new and unpleasant experience. Dragonite, use Rain Dance. Mtln knew he couldn't beat Charizard with raw power. He had put aside his pride and was now taking the battle seriously. It had been a long time since he'd had such a close match, most of his previous battles had been one-sided. Now, he could finally command his Pokémon in a real fight. Dragonite, Rain Dance. Hearing his trainer's command, Dragonite channeled the surrounding water elements. He flew into the sky and roared, summoning dark clouds that quickly gathered over the arena. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Crash! Crash! A torrential downpour began, instantly soaking the Pokémon. Mtln chuckled. Now, the rainy environment was Dragonite's home turf. He was known for his speed and ferocity in stormy weather. Chapter 83 Burning the Sky and Boiling the Sea, The Ultimate Showdown. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Across the field, Mtln thought his Quilong had a massive home field advantage, but Zhongli's Charizard had a secret: it could store water. The rain created by Mtln's Rain Dance was actually empowering Charizard. As the rain poured down, water energy surged into Charizard's body. It was constantly healing, fully restoring any stamina lost in the battle. Quilong, use Thunderbolt. Quilong appeared in the dark clouds, gathering electrical energy. It unleashed a Thunderbolt attack on the Charizard flying before it. Electric attacks are super effective against Charizard, after all. Charizard, Dragon Breath. Roar. Zhongli didn't flinch at Quilong's Thunderbolt. Instead, he immediately ordered Charizard to use Dragon Breath. Following the command, Charizard gathered dragon energy, forming a blue-white orb in its mouth. Charizard endured Quilong's Thunderbolt and fired Dragon Breath directly at it. The blue-white energy wave surged toward Quilong. It hit instantly, the Dragon-type damage causing Quilong to cry out in pain. Dragon-type moves are super effective against other dragons. The sudden double damage caught Quilong off guard, nearly causing it to fall from the sky, but Quilong's Thunderbolt had no effect on Charizard. Charizard used its Lava Fruit ability to partially elementalize, becoming like lava itself. Thunderbolt had no effect on its elemental body. The lava fruit's elemental power is similar in composition to Earth. The electricity was completely grounded by Charizard's elemental body. Quilong, Surf. Seeing his Thunderbolt fail and his Quilong take a beating, Mtln ordered a Surf attack. Rainwater had accumulated on the battlefield. Using Surf was easy for Quilong under these conditions. Quilong gathered the surrounding water, creating a massive wave on the arena. The dangerous wave surged toward Charizard. Charizard, Mystic Fire, Flamethrower. People always say they would burn the sky and boil the sea. Zhongli was about to do just that. He was going to reverse the type matchup and defeat Quilong Surf with a fire-type move. That would be an awesome win. Charizard gathered natural energy and absorbed it into its body. Then, channeling fire energy, it unleashed Mystic Fire, Flamethrower at the approaching wave. Empowered by fairy magic's natural energy, the Flamethrower became incredibly powerful. It was like a flaming dragon, meeting Quilong Surf head-on. FSSSSH. The Flamethrower slammed into the surf, the intense heat instantly boiling the water. High-temperature water vapor rose from the battlefield as Charizard intensified its attack. Quilong Surf was evaporated in an instant, the resulting mist blanketing the entire arena. If it weren't for the rain, the ground underneath would probably be bone dry. Everyone was stunned. When they saw Charizard using fire against Surf, they couldn't help but think Zhongli was crazy. How could he dare to use a move with a reverse-type matchup? He was practically handing the win to his opponent, but reality quickly slapped them in the face. Nobody thought an elf with this level of strength could boil Surf dry with Flamethrower, especially in the rain, which reduced Charizard's Flamethrower power to 3/4 of its usual strength. Zhongli wanted Charizard to show its true power and prove its worth. His Charizard was practically invincible at the ordinary level. It could even hold its own against elite-level elves. Zhongli knew that the Water Gym was hosting the Magic City Elf Cup competition. It couldn't be that simple. Strong trainers would be watching. if he became the champion with such an overwhelming advantage, maybe the water gym would invite him to join and become an elite member. That was Jiang Li's plan. Even though he didn't have a water-type elf, you don't have to have a water-type elf to join a water-type gym. This was a national-level gym, only 18 in the country. He could always catch a water elf later. He did need one, for future training and tests around the world. Water elves were essential in aquatic environments. Unlike other trainers, he didn't specialize in one type to save resources. Jiang Li only cared about an elf's talent and strength. Those who didn't specialize in one type were called champion seeds, so, Jiang Li's real purpose in joining the water gym was to get their support. With his system, he didn't need many resources to increase his elf strength, he just needed to take them on dimensional adventures. It wasn't sustainable in the long run, but if someone realized Jiang Li wasn't spending anything and still improving his elf strength and finding various items, how would he explain where he got those resources? Without being part of a big organization, his system might be exposed. It was better to join the water gym early, so his strength wouldn't raise suspicion. That's why Jiang Li was making Charizard work so hard, to impress the talent scouts. If he joined the water gym, he might even be able to pick out some treasures from their vault. Chapter 84 The Art of Shadow Clone. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Charizard, hit M with Immortal Technique, Dragon God Dive. Seeing the opposing dragon faltering, Jiang Li immediately pressed Charizard to finish it off. Charizard instantly channeled dragon energy and combined it with natural energy. This combination wasn't just 1+1, it was explosive. The combined energy enveloped Charizard. A blue, lightning-like energy armor formed around him. Charizard shot toward Dragonite with Dragon God Dive, leaving a light blue streak in the air. Dragonite, we're going Dragon God Dive too. Facing Charizard's attack, Mtln wasn't backing down. His Dragonite was the real deal, after all, and a real dragon doesn't fear some wannabe's dragon attack. Dragonite soared into the sky, then plummeted downwards, using gravity for extra oomph. Massive amounts of dragon-type energy gathered around him as he used Dragon God Dive, hurtling toward Charizard. Boom! Shriek! Crack! The collision of the two behemoths was deafening. Everyone instinctively covered their ears. The impact also held everyone captive, eyes glued to the field, waiting to see what happened. The arena filled with the ear-splitting screech of the clashing energies. On the surface, the two seemed evenly matched after their Dragon God Dive collision, but Dragonite was already at a disadvantage, struggling to keep up. Charizard quickly seized the upper hand, unleashing more dragon energy and blasting Dragonite away. Charizard, Dragon Tail. Seeing Dragonite faltering, he told Charizard to finish it. Charizard spread his massive wings, he accelerated, swooping down toward the top of Dragonite. Then, he slammed Dragon Tail into Dragonite's forehead, sending him crashing to the ground. The impact was tremendous. If this wasn't the water-type gym with its reinforced arena, if they were in a smaller arena, Dragonite's fall would have created a crater. Dragonite, you okay? Can you still fight? Mtln was frantic, seeing Dragonite slammed to the ground. He was worried about his injuries. Dragonite, already weakened and hit with a super-effective Dragon Tail, was seriously hurt, the dragon energy tearing him up. After all, Dragon-type moves hit Dragon-types hard. Meanwhile, Charizard, thanks to his rain-activated water absorption, had recovered all the stamina he'd burned using those powerful moves. Charizard was at peak condition, and Dragonite was about to go down. Mtln knew he needed to turn things around, or he was done for. Losing wasn't an option, especially after he'd told the media he'd crushed the competition, but he was the one getting crushed by Charizard. Mtln decided to gamble, betting everything on one last shot to take down Charizard. He refused to believe Charizard could withstand a full power attack. Knowing his Dragonite was maxed out, he'd go for broke and try to take Charizard down in one wave. Dragonite, use Outrage. Mtln ordered Dragonite to use Outrage, a move he hadn't fully mastered yet, forcing Dragonite to abandon all defense. It was an all-out attack, trading sanity for raw power. The referee sighed. Outrage was dangerous and unpredictable, prone to accidents. He kept a close watch, ready to intervene if things went south. Dragonite struggled to his feet, channeling every ounce of dragon energy. He was ready to risk it all, energy surging through him. Dragonite was slipping into a berserk state under the intense power. He roared, opening his gaping maw, and charged at Charizard. this was the outrage of a real dragon-type pseudo-legend. It was nothing like that Sea King's puny attempt. Even a fully powered-up Charizard would have to dodge that. In the wild, you could kite a Pokémon using outrage, wearing them down, avoid attacking directly, and wait for the outrage to wear off. But in the arena, there was nowhere to run, no matter how Charizard dodged. Dragonite would find him. But Zhongli had a plan. Charizard, Shadow Clone Technique. Roar. Facing the enraged Dragonite, Charizard channeled his energy. 3 clones appeared in his place. The clones were perfect copies, indistinguishable from the real Charizard. That's it. Against the Berserk Dragonite. Charizard is using Shadow Clone to confuse Dragonite and keep him from finding the real one. The host, Tang Ying, explained, but she didn't get it. She thought Charizard was just using a basic illusion. A normal person would know a Shadow Clone was fake as soon as they touched it. But Charizard's Shadow Clones were different. His clones were identical to the original. They could fight, use moves, and attack. The Shadow Clone would only disappear if hit by a fatal attack or if Charizard cut off the energy supply. Chapter 85. Win the Final. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Under normal circumstances, Charizard throws out a Shadow Clone. It's almost a perfect copy and can even think for itself. When the clone disappears, the original Charizard gets all its memories and experiences back. Basically, this Shadow Clone technique is like, hold on. It's the perfect way to multitask from home. So, there were 3 clones plus the real Charizard, all looking identical. No matter how strong Dragonite is, there was no way to tell which was the real deal. Heh. Lin Lan scoffed as he watched Charizard use Shadow Clone. It's just a Shadow Clone, a fake. Dragonite, use see-through. Dragonite, still a little dazed, managed to focus and use see-through. It zeroed in on the leftmost Charizard and, using see-through, figured out it was the real one. So, the crazed Dragonite charged, aiming to bite what it thought was the real Charizard. The Charizard clones fought back against Dragonite. The 2 monsters started trading blows, each taking hits, but Dragonite, recklessly throwing caution to the wind, gained the upper hand. It locked its jaws on Charizard's neck, and the crowd held their breath. No one dared to blink, desperate to see how it would end. The referee, Pokeball in hand, was ready to jump in and stop the fight if Charizard couldn't keep up. Just as Dragonite clamped down on Charizard's neck and bit, the Charizard in front of Dragonite turned into a puff of white smoke and vanished. What? Everyone was shocked. Wait, has Dragonite been fighting Shadow Clones this whole time? But that's impossible. If it was fighting Shadow Clones, wouldn't Dragonite just be swinging at air? How did it get hurt, then? The host, Tang Ying, was just as surprised and laid out the audience's confusion. Of course, Zhongli wasn't about to explain that this Shadow Clone technique was seriously OP. Charizard, use Dragon Rage. Finish it. Dragonite was already exhausted and injured from its earlier rampage. It was at its most vulnerable, and the other 2 Charizard clones vanished, revealing the real one, mouth wide open, forming a blazing blue ball of dragon energy. If Zhongli hadn't been worried about revealing too much, Charizard could have used both its real body and a clone to fire off Dragon Rage at the same time. Charizard's Dragon Rage, like a real dragon's breath, slammed into the defenseless Dragonite. The searing blast sent Dragonite crashing into a nearby rock formation. The impact created a massive crater in the rock. The attack left Dragonite utterly drained, barely clinging to consciousness. Dragonite, Lin Lan called out anxiously. He tried to rally Dragonite, to get it back in the fight, but it was no use. Dragonite struggled to its feet, but couldn't move. Finally, it collapsed against the rock formation and passed out. 3, 2, 1. The referee finished his countdown, and Dragonite was still down for the count. Zhongli was declared the winner. Oh, the crowd exploded, cheering for Zhongli and waving their light sticks. Lin Lan's posters were tossed aside. No. Lin Lan screamed from the battlefield. He couldn't believe he'd lost. But it was real. Look at what a sore loser. Totally. I thought Lin Lan was all hype. Turns out, Zhongli schooled him. Some of the spectators were even mocking Lin Lan. Just like Zhongli figured, these same people were cheering Lin Lan on before the match. Now that Lin Lan had lost, those praises turned to jeers. Jiangli ignored the crowd and their shifting opinions. He was focused on his own strength, and the crowd's voices were fleeting. Jiangli calmly walked to the winner's podium, unfazed, and stood at the top. Lin Lan should have been standing next to him as runner-up. But he was too ashamed to attend the ceremony. The crowd booed, calling him a sore loser. As for Luo Xian, the girl who liked black stockings, Jiang Li's earlier opponent, as the third runner-up, Luo Xian also appeared on the award stage. She shot a glare at Jiang Li. Standing on the top platform, Jiang Li didn't know what to say. During their match, his Tyranitar had accidentally knocked out her Gardevoir. Luo Xian still hadn't let it go and gave him the evil eye any time she saw him. As the award ceremony music played, the water gym staff handed over the medals. Major General Siya. Major General Siya, that everyone cheered as the presenter appeared. They hadn't expected her to present the awards. Major General Siya, Deputy Director of the Water Gym and Commander-in-Chief of the Southeast Military Region, was the presenter. Major General Siya took the medals and began awarding them, starting with the girl in black stockings. Lin Lan, after learning that Major General Siya was the one giving out awards, rushed back in despair and continued to participate in the ceremony. When it was finally Jiang Li's turn, he caught a whiff of perfume. Major General Siya personally placed the gold championship medal around Jiang Li's neck. She even patted him on the shoulder and complimented his performance. As the winner of the Magic City Elf Cup, Jiang Li would receive the chance to choose a high-quality Pokémon at the Magic City Elf Breeding House. Plus, he got a 500 million yuan shopping card, good at official Pokémon stores throughout the region. Chapter 86 Charizard Super Evolution Stone X. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After the award ceremony, the competition wrapped up. Before heading out, Major General Siya pulled Jiang Li aside and suggested he drop by the water gym when he had a chance. She wanted to talk privately since it wasn't the right time then. Jiang Li figured she probably wanted to recruit him to the water gym after his stellar performance in the competition. Later that night, Jiang Li was in bed when he started getting a string of congratulatory calls. He knew some of these people, but they never usually bothered with him. He couldn't figure out why so many people were suddenly sucking up to him, offering gifts that he turned down. Then his dad called and explained that Jiang Li's use of Tyranitar in the Elf Cup had caught the attention of the Su family in Jinling. These guys started hassling Zhang's dad. Fed up, Zhang's father unleashed his ace, a gym-level Altaria, and challenged 6 of them. He beat a gym-level trainer from the Su family, and they finally backed off. Of course, this whole situation was only known among the Jinling elite and the Alliance's top brass. That's when people realized that the normally reserved Zhang's father was actually a powerful gym-level trainer. Before, he wasn't even on the radar in Jinling, but now that his strength was out in the open, a lot of people started paying attention to Jiang Li, hoping to get to Zhang's father through him. While professional-level trainers were fairly common in Jinling, gym-level trainers were a different story. There was a huge gap between the two levels, and many elves just couldn't make that jump. And then, of course, there's another big hurdle going from gym level to quasi-king. Zhang's father specifically told Jiang Li not to worry about those people. He also wanted Jiang Li to come home soon because he was going to the Dragon Valley Secret Realm. As a public official of the Alliance who just hit the gym level, he could experience their top-tier secret realm. He could even try to catch some elves there. Jiang Li joked that he should try to snag a quasi-king level elf from Dragon Valley. His dad laughed, knowing the deal. Even with his black Lugia, which had quasi-king strength, he probably couldn't take down the quasi-king elves in Dragon Valley. They were just stronger and better trained, thanks to the teachings of the clan's king-level trainers. Even if he somehow managed to beat one, it wasn't likely to want to come with him. And good luck forcing it. He'd have the whole clan on his back instantly. That's why most people who went to Dragon Nest ended up bringing back weaker elves to train. Back to Jiang Li. He was now ready to claim his reward, Charizard's Mega Evolution Stone X. Yuyo, claim mission reward. Ding dong. Request received. Querying now. System task, participate in the Magic City Elf Cup competition. Task requirement, win the Magic City Elf Cup competition. Mission reward, obtain Charizard's Mega Evolution Stone X. Task completion status, completed. Distributing rewards now, a round, blue, crystal-like stone appeared in Jiang Li's hand. Inside, there was a striking black and blue arc. It was Charizard's Mega Evolution Stone X. He planned to give it to Charizard immediately, letting him keep it inside his body like an accessory. It was better to keep it hidden. If anyone saw it, they'd definitely try to steal it. After all, on the open market, this stone would easily fetch billions. Early the next morning, Jiang Li took Charizard to the coast, hoping to find a secluded beach to test out Mega Evolution. Charizard, hold up, Jiang Li found a good spot. The tide hadn't come in yet, making it perfect for their experiment. Once the tide came in, it would wash away any evidence. Jiang Li rode Charizard down to the beach. He then pulled out the keystone he wore around his neck. This was key to communicating with Charizard. Without it, the Mega Evolution Stone wouldn't do much good. Jiang Li held up the keystone and prepared to begin. Charizard. Mega Evolve. A white light shot out of Charizard, but then fizzled out. Jiang Li wasn't discouraged. He knew it might take a few tries. Finally, on their 10th attempt. Charizard, show me our bond. Unleash your hidden potential and show your true power. Charizard, Mega Evolve. The keystone in Jiang Li's hand pulsed with light, mirroring the Mega Evolution Stone X on Charizard's neck. The two stones resonated, unlocking Charizard's power and bathing him in a white light, the light of evolution. Under its power, Charizard's body began to transform. He grew stronger and more muscular, his limbs more slender. The claws on his feet and hands became sharper, and 4 bony spurs sprouted from his arms. After Mega Evolution, the original red Charizard was now a black and blue Mega Charizard X. Chapter 87 Evolve. Super Charizard. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Especially the never-dying flame on its tail, it had also turned a deep blue, crackling with explosive power. This was the real deal, a true dragon's flame. This happened because Charizard evolved into Mega Charizard X. Now it possessed dragon attributes, becoming a real dragon. Roar. Charizard, having completed its Mega Evolution, soared into the sky, showing off its majestic form. It felt incredibly powerful, like it could crush even elite-level Pokémon with ease, and rightfully so. This Charizard was already a top-tier level 30 Pokémon. Mega Evolution was the next level up. Now, even when facing elite-level Pokémon, 31 to 40, at their peak, Mega Charizard could take them down. After all, this Charizard's talent was championship level, and Mega Evolution would unlock its full potential. Jiang Li believed his Mega Charizard X could even hold its own against professional-level Pokémon. He activated his appraisal skill to analyze his powerful Mega Charizard X. Species, Mega Charizard X, Mage Form. Gender, Male. Level, 30, Ordinary Peak, Actual Combat Power, Elite Peak, Professional Beginner. Attribute, Fire plus Dragon. Item, Charizard Mega Stone X. Ability, Tough Claws / Water Absorb. Talent, Champion Level. Skills, Fire Release Secret Art, Great Fireball Technique, Phoenix Immortal Fire Technique, Dragon Fire Technique, Fire Dragon Flame Bullet, Water Release Technique, Great Waterfall Technique, Ninja Taijutsu, Strange Power, Ninja Taijutsu, Heavenly Kick, Shadow Clone Technique, Rasengan, Immortal Technique, Great Jade Rasengan, Reverse Scale, Dragon Ascent. Just as expected, the data panel was impressive. The system estimated Mega Charizard's combat ability ranged from Elite Peak to Professional Beginner. Mega Evolution might only last for a limited time, and maintaining it drained a lot of energy from both trainer and Pokémon. But during that time, the power boost was significant. No wonder everyone was after Mega Evolution. From ancient times to the present, the power of Mega Evolution has been what trainers in the Chinese Alliance have wanted most. Jiang Li maintained the Mega Evolution for about 10 minutes before releasing it. Charizard returned to its elite peak strength. While sustaining Mega Evolution was taxing on Jiang Li, the feedback from his 3 Pokémon helped. He could keep going a bit longer, and if his Pokémon were stronger, the feedback would be even greater, allowing him to maintain Mega Evolution for longer. if a trainer could fulfill all 6 contracts, the feedback would be enough to give them a body with actual Pokémon power. After all, each successful contract provides 1/6 of the Pokémon strength. If you had 6 gym-level contracted Pokémon, each would give you 1/6 of its power, making your strength and physique comparable to a gym-level Pokémon. While perhaps weaker due to lack of energy control, you could still train and improve. Like Bruno of the Elite Four, whose fighting power was on par with a king-level Pokémon, this is why people were so obsessed with contracting Pokémon. The world limits everyone to 6 contracts, so cherish them, but Zhongli didn't plan to stop at 6, with the system's archive feature, he could surpass that limit. But that's for the future. After testing Charizard's Mega Evolution, he headed back to town, planning to visit the Pokémon Breeding Center in Magic City to choose more Pokémon. Specifically, he was looking for a Slakoth or a Primeape. Since he didn't have a permit to ride a flying Pokémon in the city, Zhongli couldn't fly on Charizard. He took a taxi to the breeding center gate, spending a few hundred yuan on the fare. Stepping into the reception hall, a group of women in professional attire glanced his way. But after seeing Zhongli, they immediately looked away, except for one woman in black stockings and high heels. When she saw Zhongli wandering around, she immediately approached him. "Sir, what can I do for you?" "I'm the receptionist here, employee number 3456. Let me know if you need anything," the woman in black stockings and high heels said with a professional smile. "I'm here to look at the Pokémon," Zhongli said. "Of course. Welcome to Magic City's #1 Pokémon Breeding Center. You can find almost every Pokémon in the entire alliance here." The woman in black stockings and high heels gestured towards a large screen displaying various Pokémon introductions. "By the way, sir, what's your budget?" She figured Zhongli was probably a high school student, a trainer who had just reached the ordinary level. He probably wanted to pick a Pokémon with good potential for his second contract. Even with parental funding, he probably couldn't spend too much, which meant a smaller commission for her. When Zhongli entered, no one else bothered to greet him. She was a recent hire and figured any business was good business, so she took the initiative. Hearing the woman's question, Zhongli pulled out a black card. It was a platinum card from Magic City's #1 breeding center. This platinum card entitled him to choose any Pokémon at the center. The woman's eyes lit up when she saw the card. She felt immediately happy. "Sir, are you one of the top 3 from the Magic City Pokémon Cup?" "Yep," Zhongli replied. Hearing that, the woman beamed. She knew she was about to make a good commission. As a top 3 finisher in the Magic City Pokémon Cup, he could choose any Pokémon he wanted. The water-type gym would foot the bill, so they usually picked the most talented Pokémon possible. After all, it's not their money to waste. Chapter 88, the #1 training house in the Magic City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The staff, sporting black stockings and high heels, led Zhongli directly to the premium elf area. These elves were generally at least of a professional level, some even boasting gym leader potential. Buying an elf here could easily cost you millions. You might even find elves with near champion potential, but ultimately, the choice was up to the trainer. If a trainer picked a dud, that was their tough luck. After all, the water gym wasn't exactly printing money. The breeders weren't about to give away secrets about which elf had the best stats. Even the staff member in the black heels didn't know which of these elves was the best. They were under a confidentiality agreement. Only the breeders truly knew the real potential of these creatures. "Sir, anything catch your eye? If not, I'd suggest the Charmander, Totodile, or Snivy." The receptionist, still in her black stockings and heels, pushed the Unova starters on Zhongli. Those Unova starters from those games are always great, especially compared to others on the same level. "Actually, could you take me to where the Slakoth and Vigoroth are bred?" "Sure thing, sir." The receptionist led Zhongli to a forest overflowing with fruit trees. Slakoth and Vigoroth were everywhere, some slaking, even lounging on rocks, fast asleep. Apparently, the Magic City breeding house had quite a Slakoth and slaking population. They practically formed their own little community. It looked like a miniature society. Slaking were still pretty sought after. Their only weakness was their laziness, which often made them useless in battle. Still, a slaking was worth a lot. Even the non-legendary types of the same level couldn't compare. Jiangli was planning to snag one because he had a characteristic patch. He could change Slaking's ability to huge power, effectively turning it into a physical powerhouse. Once the laziness was gone, anything it went up against wouldn't stand a chance with that doubled attack power. Jiangli scanned the fruit forest. Slacketh were napping in the trees, the Vigoroth were even feeding them, as they'd never bother getting the food themselves. Jiangli had heard stories about researchers trying to break a Slacketh of its laziness. They'd put it in a sealed room with food on the other side. They wanted it to get up and walk for its meal, but no matter how hungry it got, the Slacketh would just sleep on the floor to conserve energy, even when it was skin and bones. It wouldn't get up and eat. The researchers had to feed it themselves when it was on the verge of starving. It just goes to show how difficult it is to deal with their natural laziness. If Jiangli didn't have that characteristic patch, he wouldn't even bother with them. The Pokémon he had were for adventuring into other dimensions. If he had a Slacketh without the patch, it'd just lay around and do nothing if they ended up in another world. How would it ever level up and learn new things? Seeing the Slacketh and Slaking sleeping without moving, he could see that this was a self-contained society, all thanks to the Vigoroth. The Vigoroth state is probably the most active stage in the life of a Slacketh/Slaking. After a Slacketh evolves into a Vigoroth, its ability changes to Vital Spirit, eliminating any drawbacks caused by laziness, and it suddenly has all of the energy in the world. For example, seeing the Vigoroth pick ripe fruit from the trees to feed the Slacketh shows that they take great care of them. It's likely that without artificial help, it would be difficult for these Slacketh to grow up healthy. Jiangli even saw some Vigoroth making fruit wine. He figured that the monkey wine the breeding house sold was probably made by them. The staff member led Jiangli directly to the tribe leader. The leader of this Slacketh community was a Vigoroth, and honestly, who else could it be? Who else would have the energy to do the job? Was he supposed to let the Slaking lead and sleep their way through everything? The Vigoroth chieftain told Jiangli to choose the elf himself, but only if the elf was willing. No forceful captures allowed. Everything had to be based on free will. The Vigoroth also wanted his tribe to experience the outside world and grow stronger. This Vigoroth was ancient. All the Slacketh, Vigoroth, and even Slaking were his descendants. He'd been preventing himself from evolving out of a sense of duty to his people. Even as the leader, he knew he couldn't control his nature if he evolved. So, for the sake of his family, he made sure never to evolve, effectively dedicating his life to the tribe. Jiangli looked at the gray-haired Vigoroth and couldn't help but respect him. Then, he started walking among the Slacketh, ready to make his choice. Jiangli used his appraisal abilities on the Pokémon. Professional level Slacketh, nothing but professional level Slacketh here, not what he was looking for. A few gym leader level talents, but still not quite right. Jiangli wanted to find a Slacketh with champion level potential. If the receptionist in her black heels heard Jiangli, she'd have rolled her eyes so hard they'd have popped out of her head. An elf with champion-level talent wasn't easy to come by. Even if the breeding house had one, it'd be reserved. He would never be able to get his hands on it. Jiangli looked around, but all the Slacketh were either gym leader or professional level, no champion-level prospects, which was disappointing. Chapter 89: The Hyperactive Ape with Quasi-King-Level Talent. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Even though he also had a way to boost a lazy Pokémon's potential, dimensional adventures, imagine taking a trip to the world of One Piece and snagging a devil fruit. That would seriously amp up an elf's stats, maybe even jump them up a level or two. Jiangli figured even a gym-level elf could become king-level with a devil fruit, and a near-king-level elf guaranteed to max out at king-level. Take Jiangli's Tyranitar, for example. She's already close to championship level, a few rare items or potential boosting potions, and she'd definitely break through. That's why he still wanted to find a lazy Pokémon with near-king potential or better, but looking around the breeding room, none of the lazy ones fit the bill, so, he turned his attention to the primates, who were mostly busy at work. These primates were doing all the keeper chores, feeding the Slacketh and Slaking. Jiangli used his appraisal ability and saw that most of them had professional level talents. Then, he noticed one primate that was different. This one didn't seem as energetic as the others. Instead, he was just chilling on a tree branch, looking up with a worried expression. That's pretty unusual. Primates are usually bursting with energy, like they've got an endless supply. but this one looked more like a slacketh, just sitting there, swinging his legs, staring straight up, like he was lost in thought or something. This primate seemed stuck in a mental rut, and if nobody helped him out, that he would definitely have a problem. So, Zhongli used appraisal on him. He wanted to see what his talents were. The result blew him away. This primate was actually near king level. Zhongli was pumped and ready to choose him right then and there. Pokemon, primate, gender, male, strength, 21, basic level, type, normal, ability, anger point. Potential, near king level, moves, scratch, leer, focus energy, fury swipes, karate chop, scary face, taunt. Zhongli walked up to the primate and asked if he wanted to be his partner. He promised to show him the world and let him experience the thrill of Pokemon battles, but the primate just shook his head and kept thinking. Zhongli was confused until he saw the primate glancing at a slaking with a hint of resentment. Now he understood. This primate probably evolved from a slacketh and had finally broken free from his lazy nature, but he was afraid that evolving into a slaking would drag him back down into laziness. That's why he was reluctant to leave with Zhongli. After all, following him would mean eventually becoming a slaking. Zhongli thought for a second and then pulled out a type-changing fruit from his inventory and dangled it in front of the primate. He promised that even if he evolved into a slaking, he wouldn't become lazy. The primate sniffed the aroma and knew it was the real deal. He immediately agreed and got ready to leave with Zhongli. Zhongli quickly grabbed the primate and told the staff nearby about his choice. The staff member, a Pokemon breeder at the facility, was surprised by Zhongli's pick. He explained that this primate had been raised there for a long time. He had always been unusual because after other slackers evolved that they would usually become very active, enjoy working, and even improve their skills through training, but this one was different. He was always worrying and never trained, so, the breeder kindly warned Zhongli. But Zhongli didn't hesitate. Seeing that Zhongli was sure, the breeder took them to the registration desk, but as Zhongli handed over the Pokeball for testing, something unexpected happened. Near king level. Seriously, that the inspector exclaimed. He said it loud enough for everyone to hear. Another near king level Pokemon? How did we miss this? Some of the staff started whispering. They knew that Pokemon with near king level potential were worth a fortune. We're talking $100 million, and that's hard to ignore. Soon, the vice director of the Pokemon Training Center came over. He saw Zhongli and immediately greeted him with a warm smile. You're Zhongli, right? You're still a student. I'll call you Zhongli then. The primate you picked out has already been reserved by someone else. It was our mistake not to tell you beforehand. We're really sorry. How about this? As compensation, you can pick another Pokemon, and we'll give you $100 million worth of training resources. What do you say? The vice director spoke softly and kindly, but he was making it clear that the deal was off. Even though he claimed it was reserved, that wasn't the whole story. The contract's been signed, and someone from the water gym already paid at the front desk. Since the contract's signed, there's no such thing as a reservation. Zhongli stood his ground. He didn't need their garbage resources, and 100 million wasn't enough to tempt him. Zhongli, I already told you, this Pokemon's reserved. Yes, it was our mistake, but you can't just ignore that. If you keep causing trouble, I'm going to call security. The vice director dropped the act. He just wanted to keep the primate. A near king level Pokemon was rare, even at their top-notch facility. He usually sold them to wealthy and influential people to build connections. As the vice director, he wanted to move up the ladder. The Pokemon was purchased by the water gym, but it was still sold to a student. It was better to keep it and use it to expand his network. So, when he heard his men mention the near king level Pokemon, he rushed over. His plan was to confiscate the primate. First. Chapter 90 Contracted Hyperactive Ape. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hee. Zhongli just smirked back at the deputy director's blatant expression. He pulled out his phone and hit play on the recording. So, you're threatening me now? What do you think you'll accomplish with that recording? Who are you gonna call? The deputy director wasn't scared at all. He was totally arrogant. Just you wait. Zhongli told him to hold his horses and see what happened next. Asterisk bloop, 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 star. Right then, the deputy director's phone started ringing. Immediately, a torrent of abuse poured out, leaving the deputy director in a cold sweat. It was pouring off his forehead. Turns out, Zhongli had sent the recording straight to Major General Xia, the deputy head of the water gym. At the end of the previous finals, Major General Xia had given Zhongli her number. Zhongli had even used it to add her on WeChat. Once she got the recording, Major General Xia had immediately ordered him to get the matter sorted, so now, the deputy director was getting reamed by his boss. He'd probably be sidelined for good, never to be promoted again. For a scheming guy like him, who was desperate to climb the ladder, that was like a fate worse than death. Finally, looking miserable, the deputy director asked Zhongli to complete the paperwork. He had to be cursing under his breath, thinking, why didn't you say you had connections like that? Why'd you have to ruin my career? After finishing up, Zhongli grabbed the Pokeball containing the king-level potential hyperkinetic ape and bounced from the facility. The breeding house even threw in 100 million yuan worth of extra training resources, probably as an apology. Zhongli didn't really need it, but hey, free stuff. He took it. The word was out. Zhongli had acquired a quasi-king-level potential hyperkinetic ape from the facility. The Magic City Morning News even changed their front page to cover the story. Online, a bunch of people were instantly green with envy, spamming the internet with their bitter comments. Zhongli ignored them, deciding to keep a low profile and let the hype die down. He was already getting plenty of attention as the Magic City Elf Cup champion, and this hyperkinetic ape, with its quasi-king level potential, was a real head-turner. Throw in his 2 quasi-god tier elves, and it was like chum in the water for anyone looking to cause trouble. To avoid any drama, he decided to contract the hyperkinetic ape ASAP. Most trainers can only contract 3 elves at the ordinary level, and they have to wait until the elite level to contract 3 more, but Zhongli was different. His Charizard and Benjulas were both at level 30, the peak of the ordinary level. Even if it was an uphill battle, Zhongli's Charizard and Benjulas could probably take down ordinary elves that had just reached the elite level. The power that the 2 elves give back to Zhongli now is not weaker than the power that elite elves give back to their trainer. Plus, both his Charizard and Benjulas had eaten devil fruit, making Zhongli's physical stats even higher than those of elite trainers at his level. That meant he could contract a 4th elf. So, as soon as he got back to the hotel, Zhongli opened the Pokeball, he released the hyperkinetic ape and got ready to sign a contract. Yike! The hyperactive ape looked around at its new surroundings and immediately started pacing around Zhongli. The hyperkinetic ape finally came out of its shell, and started to unleash its true personality. It just kept circling him, like it had endless energy. Looking at the energetic hyperkinetic ape, Zhongli smiled, patted its head, and said seriously, "Hyperkinetic ape, wanna be my partner? If you're in, let's sign a contract." Yike! The hyperkinetic ape immediately agreed. The moment it did, a golden contract appeared in their minds. The contract was set, and a surge of power flowed into Zhongli. He felt stronger, for real. Yike! The hyperactive ape grinned after the contract was sealed. Zhongli decided to send it on a dimensional adventure, like the other elves had done. System, I'm requesting a dimensional adventure. Detecting host's emotions. Initiating query. Currently traversable worlds, Naruto world, One Piece world. Current eligible travelers, elf and hyperkinetic ape. System elf Yu chimed. I'll go to the Naruto world as a hyperkinetic ape. Acknowledged. As soon as the system finished, Zhongli's hyperkinetic ape vanished into thin air. It reappeared in Konoha Hidden Village, in one of the village's training grounds. The hyperkinetic ape had arrived via the system's teleportation function. As soon as it appeared, it heard a loud, booming voice. 991, 995. The hyperkinetic ape looked over and saw a guy with a bowl cut and a green spandex suit. He was doing push-ups on his fingers, upside down. Zhongli knew who it was. Konoha's green beast, Might Guy. Might Guy saw the hyperkinetic ape and assumed it was one of Konoha's ninja beasts. He jumped to his feet, struck a ridiculous pose, and invited the animal to train with him. The hyperkinetic ape seemed down for it, so Might Guy yelled, "Youth!" Then he and the hyperkinetic ape started running. They kept running around Konoha. Most of the ninjas just ignored them. Might Guy often did his training runs around the village, and this time he just happened to have a monkey-like ninja beast with him. They didn't pay attention. but Might Guy's buddy Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect you to keep up with me. After a while, Might Guy and the hyperkinetic ape returned to the training ground. Seeing that the hyperkinetic ape could keep up with him, he was very pleased, and gave it a thumbs up. Just when Might Guy was about to start his martial arts routine, Kakashi showed up with a whole squad of ninjas. They surrounded the training ground. Kakashi, my eternal rival. You've come for a duel. Ha ha ha. I'm gonna beat you. Might Guy was stoked. He figured Kakashi was there for a spar. Normally, Might Guy would be begging for a duel, but Kakashi always dodged him. So this was a surprise. He just pretended the other ninjas weren't there. All he had eyes for was Kakashi.